lecture we will study about the structure of tRNA. Okay, so we will start with the tRNA. tRNA, that is the adapter molecule. And we will also study why this tRNA is known as an adapter molecule. Okay, so as we already discussed that there is no structural link in between the amino acid and in between the genetic code, but they are somehow indirectly related. Means a particular genetic code will code for some particular amino acid, but that amino acid will have no specialty to check that particular codon. Okay, it means there must be some mediator or some adapter molecule which will link that particular amino acid to that particular codon for which that amino acid is coded. Okay, amino acid directly do not come and bind with the mRNA. Okay, there is some adapter molecule which will bind to one side, bind to the amino acid, and on the second side that will bind to the codon that is specific for that amino acid. Okay, so there must be some adapter molecule. So that's why later on this adapter molecule was known to be the tRNA. Okay, so firstly, before the genetic code was known, this tRNA was known. Okay, at that time this tRNA was known as an sRNA. sRNA means soluble RNA. Okay, and later on it was known that that soluble RNA will be the tRNA. Okay, clear? This tRNA then later known as the adapter molecule. Why this is an adapter molecule? Because it bind to the amino acid and then comes and bind to the mRNA molecule. Okay, so one side it bind with the amino acid and on the second side it will bind to the mRNA or a particular codon for that particular amino acid. Okay, so this is about the adapter molecule. So this is the structure of tRNA. Okay, in tRNA there are basically three loops, that is the T loop, D loop and the anticodon loop. Okay, so this is the D loop, this is the anticodon loop and this is the T loop, and this short arm is known as variable arm or variable loop. Why this is known as variable arm or variable loop? Because its length can change according to the packaging of the tRNA. See, this tRNA is packaged into this leaf-like structure. How? Because of complementarity in between the bases. See, firstly, we all know that mRNA is a single-stranded molecule. Then how this single-stranded straight molecule get changed into this clover leaf-like structure? Because there are some complementarity present in this mRNA or in this tRNA. That's why this tRNA get arranged into clover leaf-like structure. See, suppose here is A and here is T. So this A and T base pairs, not T here, U in case of RNA. Okay, so this A and U get base paired. Suppose here the G lies, so this G also base pair with the C. Okay, so based on this complementarity principle, this RNA molecule get folded into a clover leaf-like structure. Okay, so this clover leaf-like structure is the secondary structure of the tRNA. There are basically three structures of the tRNA. Firstly is the primary structure. Primary structure is a straight RNA, tRNA. Then the secondary structure, that straight RNA get folded into this clover leaf-like structure. Okay, and in tertiary structure, this clover leaf-like structure get changed into the L-shaped structure. Okay, so this is the secondary structure of the tRNA and this L-shaped structure is the tertiary structure of the tRNA. Okay, so there are three arms, that is the D loop, T loop and the anticodon loop, and this is the acceptor strand. You must remember that at the acceptor strand one end is the 5' end and the second end is the 3' end. At the 5' end the free phosphate is present and at the 3' end free hydroxyl group is present, and there is some specificity, that is the ACC. This ACC is present at the 3' end of the acceptor strand of the tRNA. Here at this 3' end the amino acid gets attached Okay, so at this 3' end, the amino acid get attached with the tRNA, and this ACC is particularly present at the 3' end, and this ACC is not base paired with any of the nucleotide at the 5' end. Okay, so this ACC is free and at present at the 3' end of the tRNA. Okay, so this is the structure of the tRNA molecule. Here, this anticodon loop means this codon or this anticodon. Here the codon which is present in case of tRNA is known as the anticodon, and the codon which is present in mRNA is known as the codon. Okay, so suppose this is the mRNA. Here the first codon is AUG. This is known as the codon, and complementarity to this AUG, complementary codon is present in case of tRNA. So this codon is known as anticodon. Why anticodon? Because this is against to the codon which is present in the mRNA. So the first codon, always and always, the first codon in case of mRNA is AUG, which always code for the methionine. So the first tRNA which will carry the amino acid methionine is known as the initiator tRNA. Okay. So suppose here the amino acid is methionine, then this tRNA is known as the initiator tRNA because it carries the initiator amino acid molecules on it. Okay. So this is the first codon, that is the AUG. So the anticodon onto the tRNA must be U, A and C. Okay. So this will code for the methionine. Clear? So this is the first codon and this is the anticodon against this AUG, that is the codon present onto the mRNA. So this is all about the tRNA structure. Secondary structure of tRNA is clover leaf-like, and the tertiary structure of tRNA is L-shaped, and the primary is straight RNA single-stranded molecule. Okay. So this is about the tRNA molecule. Now let's start with the translation process. What is the translation process? Translation process is a process of formation of protein from the RNA molecule. Okay. So translation is the process of formation of protein from the RNA molecule. Okay, so this process is known as the translation process. And what are the precursor RNAs which will be needed for the RNA to protein conversion? First one is the mRNA because genetic code is present onto the mRNA. Second is the tRNA which will act as an adapter molecule to carry the amino acid from the cell solution to the mRNA. And third is the rRNA which is present in onto the ribosomes. Okay. So these three RNAs are required for the process of translation. Okay. mRNA act as a template on which codons are present. Okay. tRNA act as an adapter molecule to carry the amino acid from the cell solution onto the mRNA. And third is the rRNA. rRNA is present into the ribosomes. Okay. And ribosomes are very, very important for the process of translation. Without ribosomes, translation cannot take place. Okay. So this ribosome is not only and only made up of rRNA. It is a complex of, this ribosome is a complex of RNA plus proteins. Okay. And there are two subunits of ribosome. One is the large subunit and the second one is the small subunit. Okay, one is the large subunit and one is the small subunit. Both of these subunits are combined when the ribosomes are active, and when the ribosomes are inactive, these large and small subunits are free. Okay. And there are three sites in the large subunit of the this large subunit of the ribosome. Okay. So how the translation process takes place? Suppose this is the mRNA, this is the 5 prime end, this is the 3 prime end. Okay. This is AUG. Firstly, when the translation needs to take place, the small subunit of the ribosome get attached with this mRNA. Okay, so the small subunit of the ribosome get attached here at the initiator codon. So this is the small subunit of ribosome. Once this small subunit encounters the mRNA, it will get binded with the mRNA, and then the initiated tRNA carrying the methionine amino acid will come and get attached with this mRNA. So the initiated tRNA will come here, it's methionine, come and bind here. So here is U, A and C. Okay, so this is the anticodon loop. This anticodon loop will get bind with the codon of the mRNA, that is the AUG, and here against this tRNA, methionine is attached to the 3' end. Okay. After this first tRNA, that is the initiated tRNA, comes and bind with the mRNA, the last subunit of the ribosomes, and comes and bind to the mRNA. So once the tRNA get attached with this mRNA, the second subunit, that is the last subunit of ribosome, come and attaches with the small subunit. Okay. So the last subunit comes and get attached with the small subunit. Now the ribosome is active. This is the ribosome. Okay. So this is now in active form. Okay. There are 3 sites present in the last subunit of the ribosome, and these 3 sites are A site, P site and the E site. Okay. So this is the last subunit. There are 3 sites, that is the E site, P site and the A site. This A site is the acceptor site, P site is the polypeptide bond formation site, and E site is the exit site. The initiated tRNA comes and lies into the P site of the last subunit of the ribosome. See, the initiated tRNA comes before the last subunit join the small subunit onto the mRNA. So this last subunit lies onto the mRNA so that the initiated tRNA comes into this P site before. So this is how the last subunit align itself onto the mRNA. How that align onto the mRNA? That this tRNA comes into the P site of the ribosome. Okay. Then after that, this second tRNA carrying the second amino acid comes into the A site, and a polypeptide bond formation takes place between the tRNA that is present into the P site and the tRNA which is present onto the A site. Okay. After that, the ribosomes moves forward and this tRNA moves onto this E site, and that RNA now with RNA which is present into the A site now comes to the P site. Okay. And so on. So this is how the polypeptide bond formation takes place, and we will discuss about this process in detail in the next lecture. Okay, so thank you for watching this video.